Let's first take a look at the UI. We first send a message to the service. Any message will do at this point. The service will answer by first greeting us, then giving us a couple of options. Let's first try to get our balance by sending a number 1. The service will then answer with our balance. In this case, it's $7.59. Next, we can type anything and the service will ask again what we want to do. Let's send a number 3. Now the service will send us a link we can click on. This link will take us to Stripe's billing portal where we can take care of our balance. Now let's look under the hood. When we first send a message, we hit the trigger widget, which takes us through its incoming message output. This widget makes an HTTP request to my local server where I have an endpoint waiting to work on request. We hit an endpoint called hi, take the body of our request, which already has the phone number associated with this user. Our PHP backend already has a table set up with one user. So if we find a match, we want to return it to Twilio and we want to get their first name. If we don't find a match, we just answer back by saying no such user. Back at Twilio, we hit a split widget which checks for the body of the last request's body. If the incoming body is equal to anything besides no match, we carry on to the next widget, greet with a warm hello and the name of the user. So far so good. Now, we automatically move down the flow to the next step, which is to send options to our user. This widget sits and waits for a response. If there is an answer, we check for it and move on to the next widget. If the answer was a number 1, we call Stripe's API for our balance. If the answer was a number 3, we call Stripe's API and ask for a link to the billing portal. Back in the code, the logic for the options is very similar to the first call. This time, let's just see the code in the backend API and look at what we're doing. If we're checking our balance, we do the same basic operations. Check for a user on a local database against a phone number. Then we grab our invoices, run them through a map to extract any remaining amounts, and we add them up. The last step is to return a formatted number. Not the best way to do it, but bear with me. In case you are curious, I want to show you the JSON response I got from Stripe's API when asking for this user's invoices. Here you go. Our last endpoint is another call to Stripe. All we are doing is matching up the channel address to a user in our database, then grabbing a unique portal URL. And that's it. Now, this is just barely scratching the surface. If you go to Twilio's website, look at their documentation for their API, and you do the same for Stripe's API and see how they can co-integrate, you'll find large amounts of ideas of what you can come up with. I'm looking forward to it.